Hey, Team Faith and Soul. Hope you are having an incredible week so far. Great weekend. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I am very excited actually to get into this week's training and dive right in. It's going to be fairly shorter than usual. So right out the gate, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about the news tab. So if you haven't already logged into your dashboard, if you want to, go ahead and do so now. That way, I find that sometimes it's a little bit more enjoyable if we actually are looking at this together. Otherwise, it's all good because I'm just going to read out real quick what is on our news tab as far as the highlights and just what to expect for this next week. So, just a friendly reminder, Monday, August 21st, depending upon when you are watching this video, we do have the Monsters Inc. collection that is releasing and also coming out of the vault. Basically, what that means is that if you haven't already looked at the marketing images, there are some new products that are coming out along with things that we've had in the past, such as the Buddies and the scent pack and the wax bar, the mini warmer and the full-size warmer are brand new to the collection. And then don't forget that if you click to the news tab and scroll down, your marketing images are right there with the news, which is the best thing ever. Makes it so much easier. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back to last week's training because we did discuss that. So super exciting. The thing to keep in mind is that the Friends Warmer is still in full effect, still going strong, has not sold out yet, knock on wood. So definitely be talking to your customers about that. Let's see. I think that's pretty much about it. Oh, don't forget that the Disney Princess Collection is still going strong as well. That released this past Monday. And then, as far as I know, the NFL collection should also be releasing this next Monday. However, I did notice that the actual news article itself disappeared off of our dashboard. So, not really 100% sure on that. As soon as I get some more clarity, I'll definitely let you know. I'm thinking that maybe they may have paused that and then it's to be determined only because I have not seen that in our upline butterfly rain page. So I haven't seen anything else posted. If you guys happen to catch this before Monday and you know something that I don't know, definitely let me know. Because as of right now, I think it's just put on pause. It was supposed to come out on the 21st, but as of right now, I don't think that it is at this point. Other thing is, don't forget that this month is still, I believe, 10% off of our marketing supplies. If you haven't already, make sure and snag those supplies from your dashboard. It's going to be under the consultant store. I want to make sure and say that right. It's under the consultant store, so make sure and grab your marketing materials because the new catalog is releasing this next month on September 1st. And that is actually a perfect segue into tonight's training. So, tonight's training, we are going to talk about, mine's going to look a little bit different, my little trusty list here, but we're going to talk about discontinued products and how to follow up with your customer base. And honestly, this pertains to you guys as far as even the ones who have just recently joined, and maybe you're joining for the very first time for Scentsy, you reinstated, or you've been around for a little bit. So this pretty much pertains to all y'all. You're just going to have to work it a little bit different depending upon where you're at. So I'm going to go ahead and right out the gate, give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Let's see. There we go. I'm going to share it real quick because I want to show y'all on your dashboard where you can actually go in your report. Your report. There we go. Okay, so once you're on your main screen, you want to click on the menu, and then you want to go over here to where you're going to go reporting and then sales report, or I guess if you wanted to, you could really just do view all reporting. And then once you click on that, you want to then go to, I believe, I think it's, yes, I think it's view sales reports, if I'm not mistaken. And then there should be actually several categories, like little boxes that are going to pop up with links. There we go. So I'm actually, or you know what, I think I can actually go one step further. So we're going to go here. Let's see if I can find the right one. Yeah, I believe it's promotions follow-up. So you're going to click on that one. And yes, so right here, this is where I'm actually not going to keep clicking because it's going to pull up my customers' personal information, and I want to respect that for them. But if you guys have at any point had any customers through this catalog and beforehand, they'll come up right here. So discontinued products from pretty much from when you joined up until now. So you'll click on view, and then that's there. So we're going to go back to not sharing the screen. So once you click on that link, it is going to take you to an Excel spreadsheet. And if you go to, or I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Before you click on, before the Excel spreadsheet, it's actually going to have little drop-down menus. And what you want to do, for me personally, on the far left is going to ask you which customers you want to pull reports for. To each their own. I mean, to be honest, there were some people who popped up in my reports that are now team members, but I just didn't have the patience to click through and individually pick like what names I wanted to look at. So I just clicked all. And then once you pick that category, you're going to scroll over to the right-hand side, and then it's going to say for you to connect basically, I think it's export. So it'll export it, I believe, to Excel. Now, depending upon real quick, you want to make sure and do this on a computer or a tablet. Definitely don't do this on your phone. It's not going to be as user friendly, I promise you. But once you're on your tablet or your computer, that's where you're going to import it through Excel, or export it, I'm sorry, through Excel. And then once you do that, depending upon if you have Excel or not, I personally used to have Excel, but then my subscription expired, and I don't really use it that often right now in my business. So I definitely did not want to pay for it, but I still had access to view it, which was nice. So anybody else would be able to delete out what cells they don't want and then print your document out. And then that's what I've done in the past. And then it just prints X amount of pages, and then you go from there. However, your girl did not want to pay for that subscription. So I just used the document that it did pull up. I grabbed whatever was in front of me, but y'all know how your girl likes some color. And then I just started making a list. I have yet to finish that list because my when it pulls the report up, so I've been a consultant for a little over 4 years now, and it pulled pretty much almost every person that's ordered from me in the last 4 years. Now, what's really nice is that it did alphabetize it, so I'm taking it in sections at a time. So yesterday is when I started, and I knew that I didn't really necessarily want to do this at the beginning of the month because let's be honest, like kids are going back to school, teachers are going back. There's a lot going on right now. I feel like personally, even my own customers, there's a lot going on with them personally, and a month is a serious amount of time. So I didn't really want to start off on like the first or second week of the month and then be like, hey, these scents are going away, because it doesn't feel as much of a like sense of urgency, if that makes sense, for me to talk to them about that for like the first 2 weeks of the month. But now that we're like in the middle of the month, you know what I'm saying? It's nice because now it creates a little bit more of a sense of urgency, and it's a little bit more realistic when I say, hey, these smells are going away at the end of the month. Not going to be in any more. Let me know. So basically what I did is I'm taking it into increments. So like I'm not getting as overwhelmed. Obviously, if you get to print out your document, it's going to be a lot easier for you. But yesterday I made my list, and then today I started following up. And pretty much from now until the end of the month, I'm going to be taking it sections at a time and then just following up with them as I go. Today I actually followed up with, I think I made almost like 2 page worth. So that was what, let's do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13, let's do that. So close to about 30, maybe 30, 40 people I followed up with today. And one thing, this is actually pretty much a part of the training. So we're going to dive deeper into following up. What does that look like? And I'm just going to go off of honestly, like what personally that I did. So if you see me looking over to the sides, because I'm looking at my list, because I want to use this list as an example as far as what you can do. So, and on a side note, let's just say you recently joined and for whatever reason, there's not a lot of people, if anybody, which I find it hard to believe, but if nobody comes up and you just joined, what you want to do is you want to reach out and you want to go to your order history on your dashboard. So it's going to be the same thing as a sales report, but you're going to go to order history, and then there you want to click on which dates that you want to narrow your customer base down. So pretty much, let's see. So the spring catalog started, I want to make sure I get this right, around February, I believe, February, March. So depending upon when you join, you want to select that date and then have it until now. And every single person, no matter how that list looks like, no matter how you want to do it, no matter what works for you, you want to go through every single person. And like I said, you don't want to power through unless, if you have the time, power through and contact everyone. But for me, I have a lot of other things in my life that I want to get done. So per day, like I said, I'm taking in strides 20, 30 plus people at a time, depending upon my day and what my days look like. So today, like I said, I just so happen to be able to contact about close to 40 people. Who knows, tomorrow that might not look like that. We'll see. But my end goal is to contact every single person on my entire list by the end of this month. The reason why is you don't want to leave that that communication on the table. I guarantee you that there are going to be a lot of what people call Scentsy heartaches come September, because our customers, for the most part, are not going to be able to get a hold of fragrances like Coastal Sunset and Wax and Watermelon Tangerine and Hibiscus Pineapple, because those are not fall winter fragrances, right? So let's just go down, like I said, my list, and I just want to casually kind of walk you through as far as where my planning was when it came to executing this list and then following up with my customers. So when I started from the top, this is where it did get a little bit more tedious for me, but I guarantee you it's worth it, because you're creating that relationship between you and your customer, and it helps to be a little bit more personable. So you don't necessarily want to copy and paste every single person. And that's just me personally. There are other occasions where I will tend to copy and paste to my customers and then maybe edit it just a little bit with maybe like their name, or something like a fun emoji or a fun photo of me to make it more personable. But in this case, I definitely want to go one by one. The reason why is when this list is generated, it is going to show you every single product that's discontinuing that your customer has purchased. So for example, there were customers on my list that had 10 to 12, their name was printed out 10 to 12 times or listed 10 to 12 times, because that was how many orders and how many products that they've placed, at least in the last catalog season or the last couple years, of fragrances that they've liked and ordered and products that they've ordered that are going away. Other times, depending upon how you place your orders, that's one thing that I probably will end up noticing after a little while, is that in the last year or two, I've been putting in more group orders. And so a lot of times when I'm doing group orders, I'm guilty of not having individual names based on that group order, because they're splitting shipping. And typically I invoice and then I pay it, I pay it through, or I pay for it through the invoices, I guess you could say, without being too confusing. And because of that, it's mostly under my name. So that's something that does tend to kind of mess with those results. So if you're doing a lot of group orders and not individual orders, or you're not creating those orders with their names and you're closing out a party, then that's where you're probably not going to have as many people on your list. But work with what you got, okay? So I went one by one, and for the most part, the people that I followed up with today, I do follow them through social media, no matter what platform that's at. And what I did is I went and I would look up their name, and depending upon what their most recent post was, made the difference in what I said to them. So, for example, I have some of my customers where their kids are going back to school this week, right? And I made a little bit more personable where if I said, hey, I hope so and so, insert their kid's name, had a great first week at school, right? I had one other customer that I'm looking at her name right now. I know that I saw that her most recent post was talking about that fact that she's going back to school herself. She's going back to college next week. So I text her, and instead of leading with the sale, I wanted to lead with building that relationship and networking and just spreading kindness instead of just telling her about Cincy. Because I'm like, Lord knows, if she's going back to college, she's got a lot on her shoulders, right? The last thing I want to say is, hey, do you want to place an order with me? But if I am being genuine and I'm sending out kindness and I'm sending out her a nice message, right? I'm still planting that seed in her mind because she hasn't forgotten that I'm the Cincy lady. I guarantee you she hasn't forgotten that part. But with me sending that message to her of encouragement and positivity, I am kind of giving like a little bit of a nudge and right. And then the next time that she is wanting Cincy, she's going to think of me because of that message that I sent her. And you want to be genuine about it. You don't want to be fake. So whenever I messaged her, because I knew that she was starting school and going back this next month, that's all I did. I sent her a picture of me literally looking just like this, and I had a little heart like this. And I messaged her and I said, hey, I know you're starting and you're going back to college this next week. I'm super proud of you. You got this. That's it. And on my list, I wrote it right beside her name, basically what I did. So that way I had that in my mind, like I followed up with her, but it was just a little bit different from everyone else. Um, I will say, as far as my list is concerned, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it or not, but I did their name, and then I wrote down what product it was that they ordered. And then that way, not like a too big of a detail, but maybe like the fragrance that they ordered, or if there was a specific product, like this person here ordered bulbs. And then that's why it's listed on there, because the individual bulbs are retiring. So that's why that's on there. All right, let's see. I got to go mirror and go backwards. And this is basically like saying, indicating, did I follow up with them? When did I follow up with them? And then maybe I might make another little note to the side as far as what that follow up looks like. Also, as you see here, there are little notes that I made up on the side as well. So, for example, I have one customer that is placing an order. So I went ahead and wrote beside her name when to follow up with her again. Um, and then also I did another category right here that talks about mentioning club to them. And then the last part, the last category, last column that I did was when are they going to place an order, or if they're going to place an order. And then basically just making a note of that as well. This piece of paper, I literally went to Google because I don't have Excel. I literally went to Google and went to images, and I'm pretty sure I just typed up like blank Excel spreadsheet or printable Excel spreadsheet. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's getting the job done. You don't even have to do that. I mean, you could literally use like your own notebook. You could use a scratch off pad, scratch paper, computer paper. Y'all, it does not even matter. Just do what works for you. Keep it simple, right? Don't overthink it. Let's see what else. There were a couple of people on my list that I don't necessarily communicate with as much anymore. And that would probably mean that more than likely, like some of these haven't ordered in a while, but it still have them on my list. And I know that some of them I do follow still through social media. Because I have their contact info, I will be sending them happy mail. So that's not going to be every single person on this list. But if maybe I don't have a direct line of communication with them, or they haven't ordered in a while, that's where you can mail that product list, any other flyer information, maybe like the warmer the month coming up, things of that nature. You don't have to get too fancy, but just send them a little something again, just reminding them and letting them know, hey, you're still a Cincy consultant. Cincy's 10% off this month, that kind of thing. Let's see what else. Another thing to keep in mind, and this was super important even for me as I was going through my list today, was that it is perfectly fine if you don't get an answer back. It's perfectly fine. Don't, in fact, you want to start your list with telling yourself, and I know this is going to sound silly, but this is what I did today, was just telling myself like I need to contact them and move on. That's what I was doing every single time. Now, obviously, that's not to say if they reply back to ignore them, but basically what that means is you don't want to get hung up and focus so much on texting one person and then waiting by your phone hoping that they're gonna text you back, right? Because life goes on, time happens, people get distracted. Or honestly, a lot of feedback that I'm getting from some of my customers lately is that they actually are indeed seeing my text and they're just like, hey, keep those texts coming. My money's tight. It's not my budget. I've been super busy, but I see your sales. I see your posting. I see your text. Keep them coming, that kind of thing. And that makes me feel better, reassures me, and lets me know that I'm not wasting my time for one. And for two, it also means that it's not necessarily saying that they're not interested or they're ignoring you per se if they don't text you back. Think about, like, for example, when someone calls you. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but when people call me and I'm not expecting a phone call, or if I'm already working on something, hence like right now, like I'm doing this training, I'm recording it for you guys. If someone was to call me, more likely I'm not going to call them back. And it depends upon the person too, right? Like if it's someone that I don't talk to all the time, I'm probably not going to contact them until tomorrow. It's not a sense of urgency for myself. And let's be honest, a lot of times, like I don't even like doing phone calls in general. I don't like making calls. I don't like taking calls. I am a text girl all the way. It just helps my brain, helps my sanity. But I feel like it's the same as like when we're contacting our customers. I'm not gonna it would be great if they did reply back, but I'm not gonna expect them to reply back because life happens. And you know what? At the end of the month, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, I did my job, right? As a business owner, I let them know what the sale was, and I left it just that. I left the ball in their court and I left it up to them to contact me and or shop my link. Okay. Now, one thing I will say that is super important when you're contacting your customers, when you're in the middle of that conversation, it's kind of like a dance, right? And if you guys have been around with me for a while, you know that I like to use that analogy quite often. And having a conversation with your customer is like a dance, okay? You don't want to give too much, but you don't want to not necessarily give not enough, right? So what do I mean by that? You can easily, I'll just literally read out one of the messages that I sent my customer. Um, let's see, let me pull it up. I kept it super simple. I normally add a little bit more, but I didn't want to overwhelm them. And again, because I know coming from personal experience that if I see like too much, I'm like, I can't even deal with this right now. So I move on. Um, so I'll actually show y'all. Let me see if I can actually cover up her name. Well, I guess her name's still technically on there. But as y'all can see, I did add a personal photo of myself. And literally, as I am looking right now, I happen to have an older catalog beside me. I took a picture of it. That's what I sent. 9 times out of 10, by the way, if you send a personal photo with your text, your customer is more likely, it's going to instantly grab their attention more or less, other than you sending out just a text with no photo. So if you include a photo, if you're able to include a photo of any sort, I recommend doing so. It doesn't matter really technically what it is. Don't overthink that, but it is going to grab their attention more, especially if it's you and your face. And I know for a lot of y'all that can be a little bit more difficult to do, but I promise you it's going to grab their attention faster. So I'm just going to use this one as an example. For the most part, this is actually what I sent, um, like I said, almost everybody, and I just tweaked it at the very beginning to make it more personable to them, and relevant to what's happening in their life according to their post this week. So I said, "Hey Kat, how are you? I hope your son had a great first week. High school is very exciting. I wanted to let you know that the summer scents are going away this month. That includes some of your favorites like Magnolia Linen and Clementine Cupcake." So that's where that list is going to come in handy, you guys, because I was actually able to insert not every single product she's ever ordered from me in the last couple years, but I took two of her favorites that she orders the most, or that came up on that list. I picked two and I inserted them in. So that way it's making it more personable, right? And I didn't automatically make it about the sale. I went in and I addressed it with talking about her son. I made it more personal because I'm asking about her family. That's something that's going to resonate with her, especially because I literally was texting her towards the end of the day today. And so, because of that, we've got all the things happening like up here. We're spent, we're done, we're tired. But if I'm going in first and I'm like, hey, I saw your son's going back to school. How exciting that he's in high school now. That's going to catch her attention, more or less me going in and saying, hey, just so you know, it's 10% off this month. Now, because with me saying that, I also want to say that I chose this year or this time for the sale to leave out the 10%. As consultants, we know that that 10% goes a long way. But when we're just keeping it at just 10%, because see, we know what our site looks like, right? Like we know the potential in the sale. But if we're mentioning just vaguely 10%, if I was to read 10% in that text and someone sent that to me, that's not going to seem like a whole of a hell of a lot, right? But I decided to leave that part out. And at the very end, after I said that includes some of your favorites, like, and of course I inserted some of her favorites, so that would be different for you. And then I said almost everything is on sale. And of course, if y'all know me, I had to add the emojis just because that's who I am. And then she replied back and she said, awesome, I'll take a look, thanks. Then she followed up with a little bit more context about her son and him going back to school and all the things. So that told me that that verbiage that I used caught her attention, because this particular person doesn't always respond back to me, but I do know that she sees my text. And so I just wanted to give, that's just one example. But again, you just want to make it personable and connect with your customer. Don't do word vomit. Now, let's just say that someone was super excited and they're like, oh, great, I do plan on ordering, or I would love to place an order. As soon as my customer said that, I immediately replied back with, great. No, I went blank. I said, great. What day works for you for me to follow up? Because I don't want to necessarily leave it like open-ended. I want to make sure and we're executing right. We're making sure something's happening, especially because we don't really have that much time left in the month. And I want to make sure that I'm following through, because I don't know about you guys, but I am still working towards my PRV goal for the month. And I don't want to leave sales on the table, like I said. So for that particular person, she did get back with me. She told me what days worked for her. I said, perfect. And then same thing on my list. I made a note of it beside her name, what day to follow up with her. Let's see, what other example? Oh, another thing that I can suggest as far as the list is concerned is that I did have some customers on there that, let's just say, I don't know, let's just say, for example, that they have recently ordered this month, or maybe perhaps they haven't ordered in a while. Let's say that. So I did, like, again, I did have some customers on here that haven't ordered in a while, but they still did come up because it generated that report from last couple of years, right? So there were about a handful of so people today that fell into that category, right? That list on my list. And so what I did is I ended up contacting them and letting them know about the Harvest Collection. If you're going down that list and there are specific people that come to mind that you're like, ooh, that person really likes Halloween. Or, you know what? I had that conversation with that one person last year and I know that they really love pumpkins. They really love fall. If that light bulb hits you, and when you're reading that person's name, if you think about, oh, they would really be into the fall collection, that's what I did. I sent them basically I don't even need to look at my phone. I was about to look at my phone. I messaged them and I said, hey, insert their name. So we'll just use, who do I want to use as an example? We'll just say Brittany. So I said, hey, Brittany, just so you know, the Harvest Collection comes out September 1st. Let me know if I can send you a sneak peek. Wink face. And same thing, I always want to make sure and add an image. This time it wasn't me. I went online, I found an image of the front of the Harvest Collection brochure, and that's what I sent to her so that we would grab her attention. And then you just wait for the reply. And if they say, yeah, I'd love a sneak peek, or, oh, I'm so excited for the fall, I'm so excited for Halloween, that's when I copy and pasted the flip catalog link over to them. And if you guys are, if you're watching this and you're not exactly sure where to find that, let me know and I will send that over your way. But that, yeah, so I mean, honestly, it's as easy as that. It is a little bit more tedious. It is work. But if you guys are still working on your PRV goals for the month, if you're like myself, I'm still working towards the incentive. The incentive just started. I want to make sure and get the hubby and I on one of those trips. I don't know about you guys, but also at the same time, like I have goals for this month, right? And it's the end of the catalog season. I know based off the last couple of years that I don't want my customers having a Scentsy heartache come September 1st because they're not able to get their favorite spring and summer scents, right? But I know at the end of the day, at the end of this month, if I can look back on these lists and say, I messaged every single person, then I can sleep better at night. Because I did my job, right? I can't force them to message me back. I can't force them to shop my link. I can't force them to reply and let me know that they see my message. But if I reached out to them, I did my part, right? The other thing I will suggest is that if you are friends through social media with your customers, one really fun, cool thing is for them to hear your voice, right? So a lot of times, you guys, if you're hearing the inflections in my voice, you can tell when there are things that I'm talking about that I'm like, I really got to get this information across to y'all, or I'm super excited about it, right? Because you can hear like the up and down octave levels in my voice. It's the same thing for leaving a voice message for your customers. I didn't necessarily do this for every single person, but if you do have customers that you know specifically get on Facebook Messenger and or you've commented, you've communicated with them through Facebook Messenger, then I highly recommend sending them a voice message and talking to them about the same thing, about how excited you are about the sale. You don't necessarily even again have to mention the 10% off, but you just be like, hey, so and so, insert their name. I just want to let you know that there is a awesome sale going on this month. The summer and spring scents are going away. I didn't want you to miss out. I'm super excited. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll talk to you later. And if you wanted to, just like because I'm a little extra, same thing. When I took that photo of myself, when I had like the little heart situation, or if I was holding the catalog, either one, I was sending that to my customers through Facebook Messenger along with the voice message. So that's just another suggestion as well. Let's see. Oh, the last thing that I want to talk about this specific list is there were a couple people on my list that specifically were coming to mind that I was either thinking, oh, you know what, they have club accounts with me, they have club subscriptions, and or they would make for a really great team member. Okay. And I specifically, one thing that I'm trying to keep in mind now in my business is that I don't necessarily want to determine um, ahead of time what someone's going to say to me. So, in other words, I'll give you an example. I actually text a customer today who she has been with me for the last 4 years of my business. She doesn't order from me as often as she used to, but I know that she loves her some Scentsy. But I also know that her budget is very tight. Okay. So I messaged her and I said, hey, I was thinking about you. I wanted to let you know I have a 59 host kit up for grabs. You get 5 extra bars this month on top of double testers, on top of this warmer. Let me know what you think. You get paid off your own orders. I left it just that because I know that this specific person loves Scentsy, but again, she has a very tight budget. So for me, I was like, you know what? She orders every now and then from me. She might as well order for herself and then get a little return back on it, right? Because why not? Now, we'll say that she followed up with me. She was super excited about the kit. I sent her a photo of the kit, and where a little snap poo happened, and your girl had a pivot, is she saw the warmer and she said, ooh, I'm not really crazy about that gray warmer. And I said, no sweat. I understand. If you change your mind, we can swap it out for something of equal value. I'm more than happy with that. I'm more than fine with that. However, you have to decide if that's something that's doable, feasible for you and your customer. I know some of you guys, like this particular customer for me, lives in the same town as me. However, if you have somebody that doesn't live near you, it's going to make it a little bit harder to do that, right? Now, I will say I don't think that I've honestly in all 4 years ever had somebody say that to me, but that's where I had to pivot, right? Because I do know that we have warmers that are of equal value to that gray warmer, and I don't necessarily mind because I always have host rewards, right? I always have half price credits. Heck, I don't mind getting a warmer of her choice that's of equal value or less and then swapping it out, because also that gray warmer is it's very pretty, it's very common, and with the holidays coming up, I know that I can definitely sell that. I'm like, it's all good, we can figure it out. Now granted, I haven't looked back on my messages to see if she said like, cool, yeah, let's do that, but I don't necessarily, there was a moment, I'm not going to lie, in full transparency, where I was kind of like a little bit bummed that she said that, but I was like, you know what, no, I don't want to settle with the fact that she doesn't like the warmer, because it's not that she said, oh, I don't want to join Cincy or I don't want the kit. It was just that specific warmer that she was like, I don't really know how I feel about that. But I'm like, look, I can work with that, right? So that's just another thing to keep in mind as well. If you go down your list too, and remember I said earlier that you might have customers that come up on your list that are club members. So this is also going to take a little bit of bravery, but you can do this. So I had a specific customer. She has a club order with me. To be fair, she does order from me every so often in between, but for the most part, she sticks with her Cincy Club and it comes in quarterly. So what I did is I did the math. I saw how much I looked it up through my reports, because you can do that too. You can see how much they're spending through their club. So I pulled it up, and what I did is, okay, I said, okay, mathematically, she's getting she's spending X amount of money on her club order, and she's getting it every 3 months, right? So that means that she could have the potential of getting paid back 4 times through the month, right? And so once I did that and I figured out that number, then you want to basically figure out what the commission is going to be on top of that. So what I had to do, I want to make sure and tell you all this right, because I tend to get a little squirrely, and I'm not even gonna lie, I always have to go to like Google and then type it in, because I used to always get confused between like dividing and multiplying. But once you go to Google or you go to your calculator and you do the math, then you're gonna be like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. Let's see. I believe you multiply. And the funny thing is, I know if any of my leader friends are watching this right now, they're like, you should already know this, but it's okay, because, we can forget. Let's see. Divided. Or, you know what? I'm just going to say 20%. Now, technically, obviously, like, we know that the commission can go up to 25%, but I normally, I guess to each their own, but I normally just stick with doing 20% of what they're spending per year, just because that's where they start off, right? So that's typically what I do. Let's see. I feel like 20%. Oh, that's what it was. I was like, I know I had that number wrong. Make sure I got that math right. Yes. So 20% of whatever amount you come up with, or like I said, you can do 25 if you want to, but I'm sticking with 20. So I told her on average, she would be getting paid back for the year, it would be about $54. But for every club order, so every 3 months when her club order was processing, on average, she'd give or take, if she left it just as it is in her club order, she'd be getting back about $13, give or take, every 3 months. But you know what? That's fine, right? Because to me, it's like she's already spending the $6 to $8, and the fact that you're going to get up to, or starting, I should say, starting at 20%, so up to 25% off of what she's spending per 3 months. It's really not all that bad. And basically what I told her is I said, hey, this is the host kit. It's, $59. This one's 99. I showed her what comes in both, and then I walked her through basically the math. But you have to decide again what works for you in that conversation between you and your customer, right? So you don't want to, like I said before at the very beginning of this training, like you don't want to say too much, but you don't want to say not enough. So it really just honestly depends on who you're talking with. Now, the person that I was talking to, I knew that I had to give her more info, more details than I normally would anybody else, only because she works for a bank. She's a numbers person, right? And so I knew I had to approach it and give her the numbers and give her the facts and not BS around it, because she was going to want the numbers, or she would probably honestly end up doing the math herself in the long run. And you know what, you guys, she didn't say yes, but she didn't say no. She said, "Thanks so much for letting me know. I appreciate it, but just not right now." I'm like, I'll take that, because not right now means not right now. It doesn't mean not ever, right? And so what I did is I also made a note right beside her name. I'm looking at it right now. It says not right now. Also, depending upon how you track your customer's information, I went on my phone, I went to her file, I made a note of it that said today's date, August 18th, 2023. I asked her to join. I offered her the kits. She said not right now. I want to make a note of that, right? Because when I go back to follow up with her again, whether it's like 3 months now, end of this catalog season, end of the year, whatever the case may be, you just never know, right? It's all about timing. So I feel like that's pretty much about it. I don't think that there was anything else that I could think of. Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. But like I said, don't forget 10% off again. 10% ends all this month, end of this month, you guys. That means all the discontinued products. Also, you want to tell your customers if they're talking about like when they need to put their order in, if they're okay with putting their order in sooner than later, then sooner than later is better. The only reason why I say that is because the products that are 10% off that are discontinuing are available for as long as they are until they sell out. So it's not going to be like, it's not going to be like how it has been in the past, where if we sell out of, let's just say, hibiscus pineapple fragrance flower, that it's going to be replenished, because it won't. Once it's sold out, it's sold out. Don't forget also, when it comes to your club members, this is super important, that you want to make sure and go to your dashboard, look up your club reports, and you want to make sure that each of your customers are very well aware that they have products that are going away at the end of this month in their club. So basically that means if your people have anything other than wax bars, those items are going to be deleted out, and whatever's left is left come September, and then they can leave it as is or they can add to it. It's better to give them that heads up, especially because, like, for myself, for example, I do have customers that have bi-monthly and every 3 months, so quarterly, since what I want to say, sorry, club orders going through. And let's just say that their club order didn't process until next month. Those are the people, obviously, you want to let them know if their order's not processing until September, October. If they do have products in their club that are not going to be available after this month, that means they're not ever going to be able to get them again until maybe next year. And that's a maybe. So those people are the ones you want to reach out to now and let them know, hey, your items are on sale. If they're local, be like, hey, I'm putting a group order in. Let me know if I can snag them for you. If they're not local, just let them know about what's happening with their club. Let them know that there's a sale going on right now on the website, and share your shopping link with them. But that's it. If you guys have any other questions, y'all know how to reach out to me. Other than that, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you all again have a great weekend, and I will talk to you later.